Looks like
we're live.
we're live.
Greetings, everyone.
I think there's some
And
issues
we're
with your
on.
stream on the LinkedIn. But
Yeah, so I guess we could start off with World of Warcraft, right? Like how we ended last
yeah,
time.
we're not playing World of Warcraft. Why don't I just kick things off? Hey, everybody. My name is Sebastian. I'm here with Mr. Michael Levan and Nathan Pearce. We have a guest today joining us, Anton. Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah.
Why don't
Hello,
you kind of
everyone.
introduce yourself? Thank you for, you posted a blog. Let me just you posted a blog on Agent Gateway. You did some PRs. You contributed to the open source community. And I reached out to you through LinkedIn, and we just kind of chatted. And I'm like, hey, let's just have you on the pod and talk about what you wrote and your experiences and anything related to AI as we're going to go through the day. I think Nathan just froze.
Weird.
But yeah, if you give us an intro about yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Let me give a quick intro. So for the past 2 years, I've been running the AI platform at our large regulated enterprise, Israel's largest insurer group. Basically, my work was surrounding routing, tokens, metering, guardrails, costs is a very big one, evaluations, that kind of stuff. So that's basically what I do. And when we were evaluating which products to use, how to set the whole AI infrastructure side up inside such a large and regulated place, we looked at a couple of options, and agent gateways seemed the most promising. There's still some missing missing pieces, but overall it looks like the most it seemed to me like the most professional and whole solution out that exists today for our use case. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the intro. Appreciate it. Seb, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was, but you said it. Thank you for that intro. So would you say like you're a forward design or forward AI engineer or forward design engineer at what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah. Well, I basically set up the whole platform, up. So our use case for our company was basically surrounding documents. Basically, you have insurance claims, you have the underwriting. So it helps. LLMs are somewhat helpful here. They can do summaries. They can sometimes give verdicts on claims. So they are helpful, but they don't actually replace the humans. You still and actually the older machine learning models, the risk which do risk assessment, they don't replace that, but you can have them alongside those things.
Oh, that's cool, man. So if nobody hasn't checked, if you haven't checked out the blog that you posted, I'm just gonna kind of where's my little style sheets? I'm just gonna post the QR code here so anybody can kind of just scan and be able to connect inside the pod. So if we just kind of, I don't know, do you guys want to quickly talk about the article, or do you want to talk about into other topics or other things that happened in AI today? And I'm kind of actually curious, Anton, is from, because you're from, like, I'm in Canada, the other guys are in the US, you're in Israel. Are you seeing different kind of different ways people are using AI in Israel or in that area of the world than us? Or I'm just curious.
That's an interesting question. I mean, I think a lot of a lot of our culture here in Israel is actually copied from the US.
Mhm.
You see it with trends. Like if you go on TikTok, there's like some trend that is happening, and like it takes some time, but around a month or two, it comes here. So I think, and culture is not just in in TikTok trends; it's also in technology. So I would say there are outliers, of course, that do their own things, but largely, you guys set the standards. I mean, you have the Linux Foundation, you have the projects under it, and the standards bodies are also mostly American.
Yeah. So if we go back to kind of what you wrote about, like if we just kind of go back to AI and talk about some of the billing things that you've experienced, is mostly all the stuff that you've done with Bedrock, or have you worked with other models?
We had a use case where we needed to give access to for developers for our developers to all clouds and the AI services in all those clouds. So in GCP it's Vertex, in AWS it's Bedrock, and then in Azure it's Foundry, which is my least favorite, but that's besides the point.
Oh yeah. Have you guys, Michael, Levan, and Nathan, have you done a lot work more with Foundry? I think I know Levan, you have, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with like Azure in general, just because of like the Microsoft Azure MVP status that I have. So like I do a lot of Foundry stuff and a lot of Copilot stuff in general. But I would say like what I'm seeing production wise, a lot of AWS. But it's interesting because it's a lot of AWS for things like Bedrock, right? But like anytime you're talking about OAuth or like general auth-n, auth-z, right? OBO token exchange, all of it, like that whole plethora. It's always like Entra related. Like I feel like 90% of people are using Entra for that. So it's a mix.
Azure are good with that, with the identity stuff.
100%. Yeah.
They've been kings since well, this is probably before Levan and Anton's time. I'm sure Pearce and I know Oracle, and not Oracle, was it? Oh my goodness. Lotus Notes and Identity. Yes.
Yep.
Migrated many of those to Exchange and Office and in the past.
Yeah, and I think that still holds true, right? Like Active Directory, right, has been this de facto standard for authentication and authorization for such a long time. And Microsoft was just really, really good about bringing that to first Azure Active Directory, and then they renamed it and redid it for Microsoft Entra, right? But like they've been really good for the past 20, 25 years at this point of like bringing Active Directory. I'll still call it Active Directory. It's still Active Directory, right? Bringing that through to now the agentic era.
Dude, Lotus Notes, you just gave me PTSD. Global replications of notes catalogs. That was a time.
It was a fun time itself.
All for simpler times.
Simpler times, man. Now everything, well, we got identity, you have workflows, now you have agent identity, and then you got to track all that. You got to bill, you got to charge back all those things to whoever the end user is itself, or whoever the executive that wants to see the costs and payments. And especially now, as we're seeing it getting more and more important, like what we just saw, who just bought Open Router. Stripe, right? Stripe just bought $7 billion for Open Router. Now they have a toll booth and data to understand pretty much what everybody's doing with all their traffic that's pumping out through Open Router. Which is pretty cool. And to be honest, I've built my own Open Router using Agent Gateway, because you could literally take Agent Gateway OSS and literally strap it on and pretty much build a similar type model with it.
Itself, and if you want a private platform, then you sort of have to do that. You can just use a SaaS because everything is privatized.
You're muted, Seb.
Oh, sorry. And have you worked with any local models, like setting up a 5090 or DGX or something like that?
Unfortunately, no. But maybe in the future.
Yeah.
We actually did one at some point to purchase. We have an on-prem environment, and we did want to purchase some GPUs, some of the latest GPUs, but it didn't go through. But maybe in the future.
Hey, Anton, just super curious. Someone out there in the trenches doing the hard work. What is the thing that you work on running an agentic platform that just makes you, when you start the day and you're just like, this is the gnarly bit that I hate. Like this is not the best day of my week when I have to work on this. Like is it like telemetry, identity? Like what's the bit that's just the industry needs to sort out and make easier for you?
Outside of just AI in general, right? No.
Outside of just AI, the whole industry.
Yeah, I think you said it. Yeah, it's the whole thing. Yeah, it's there isn't one specific thing I can say like identity but I think costs are a big part because I think at the end of the day, the purpose of any business is to bring value to its customers, like real, actual value that they can feel and hopefully also enjoy. And I think for that to happen, you need to know what are you spending, like what's the amount, so that you can accurately price your product. So that has been a big focus of mine.
Yeah, and let's unpack that a little bit, because the cost in itself is kind of a big topic, right? Because there's just outright cost of what the tokens are going to be for the workload that's going on. Then you've got, okay, as a business model, you've got to work out a layer of translation there, because you don't want that to exceed what revenue you're getting in for the service you're providing. So there's got to be some kind of balance there. And then within that, though, there are many other layers. There are things like, can I do semantic routing to a different model that costs a lot less for those particular workloads? Can I do optimization, for example? Let's not have the whole context window in every single interaction.
You ask what's annoying at AI, it's this. Yeah, you just remind me. Yeah, a lot of developers do that, and you have no way. You just you have no way to really enforce that. You just do it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Do you see your workflows changing from like an MCP standpoint as well because of cost? Like instead of using standard MCP, are you using things like code mode, right? Or are you doing things like progressive disclosure to ensure that like you're not calling all tools and getting all the metadata and the schema into the context? Because I see that a lot with MCP in general, right? It's like you could spin up an agent, connect to an MCP server, and before you know it, you have like thousands of tokens that are already utilized before your first prompt.
Well, this is the hard part about this, because you have the developers and then you have the infrastructure teams, and those things you just mentioned are controlled by the developers. So you really just have to trust them to be good, sort of. And if you don't, then you can have some solutions like check-in the CI/CD process, using like a tool like SemGrep. I'm not sponsored, by the way, just one tool. You can search if they use in the code if they use the best practices. But it does become quite cumbersome as these things can change and be added or removed, and it's quite hard to also to not only be the person, the team operating all the infrastructure there, but you also have to know what the developers are up to, like be an actual like put yourself in their shoes. This was always the hard part in this role, is to have a balance, sort of.
Because you kind of have to understand everything. Like I remember, and probably Nathan knows this, like when I was doing lots of load balancing, I'm on the networking team managing load balancers, but I have to understand how the application still processes through that load balancer, headers, cookies. And now when I'm doing any LLM traffic, even if I'm the platform engineer team, like, all right, here's a gateway, here's the product. the developer will always find ways to do things, and then I have to now adjust the platform itself. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing I found the most funny is when they send me a troubles like some error, and then I can see that in the end of the message, they accidentally copy the part that says send this to your infrastructure.
I've been in conversations like that too.
Read a speech, and the speech had in it like now a more
yes, yes.
That was genius.
I also feel like I've been like troubleshooting stuff with people, and it's like I'm asking my agent, and then I'm like responding with that response, and they're responding with their agent, and it's like
this is the thing I hate the most. Yeah.
At some point,
my agent
you can't win an argument against an AI. You just can't. You always have, another rebuttal to whatever you have to say. I mean, you can argue any point almost.
Yep. Yeah.
So if someone's stubborn enough, it's just pointless. I mean, you have to just sort of either accept whatever they're wanting you to do, or you just keep losing time and energy.
Right. Yep. In other words, just know what you're trying to do and learn and use your skills to do it versus just having AI comment out what it
use your brains, people.
Yep, exactly. I said that last week. I was like, everybody just needs to use their brain.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned like we were chatting earlier this week, and you were watching somebody do code, and maybe I think Levan, I think you tweeted this actually, but you're like, hey, so you still need to review your code. It doesn't matter if the agent is running, you still need to because I'm not a programmer. I vibe code or whatever you want to call it. I do tons of stuff, but my stuff's not production ready. My stuff's just for me to consume, but not in the real world because I know there's bugs and issues, and I find workarounds. But I don't look at the code.
What is this wall you say production? I don't know what that is.
Everything production.
Everything is production. Well, your laptop is now production, right? That's that's a big topic we've been talking about too, right?
Yeah, Anton, I'd be curious on your thoughts on this piece as well, right? Because, like, for example, like Dax, he's the creator of Open Code. He was live streaming the other day, right? And like I was kind of watching his flow on how he does things, and like he doesn't have an IDE up, right? But like he's still looking at the code, he's looking at the output. When the PR goes in, he's manually opening up GitHub and like looking at what's going on underneath the hood. And I feel like I kind of do that, but then at the same time, I also will like have an IDE up and like a terminal on the side so I can see what's going into whatever file prior to it going up. Because I'm a firm believer at this point still, like you can't just like one shot a prompt and be like, yeah, everything's great. The AI did exactly what it was supposed to do. Everything's production quality ready, and we're off to the races.
I think he's sorry, Nathan, go on. No, go on.
So what you're talking about there, Michael, like that jumps out at me, and we've talked about this same thing across different things, like AI slop. When I went on my rant last week about how actually it's laziness is the problem. It's not that there's AI being used; it's just that people are lazy and they don't check. Same thing with the code, and it's more of a societal thing. We're in the instant gratification era of society where people just want it all. They want it now. They have no patience and they have no discipline. It's a discipline. It's like, this is going out with my name on it. I should care that it's not garbage. It's just basic discipline, but people are just like, but it's easy now. I've got this button that just generates all this code and I could go on to the next exciting thing. It's not exciting to review code for people. You need to make it exciting. You need to be thinking, this is the thing. This is my name. This is my resume. Every chunk of code I throw out there anywhere on GitHub that's public, that's your resume. Like,
you can see like you can see like what's his name? Oh my goodness,
that's a great point.
Mitchell from X HashiCorp guy created
Hashimoto,
right? Hashimoto. He's the creator of Ghostly, the terminal, and you can see it in his posts, right? And he actually now I think he has a prompt injection that if someone does a PR, it actually validates if they actually look through it. I'm going to find it, but it looked through it, and he'll automatically just ban you from ever writing a PR again to his tool.
And it's a couple of things, right? And Anton, I really want to hear about your workflow and like how you're kind of doing things today. But like I think we're knowledge workers, right? Like engineers are knowledge workers. Like our job is to use our brain to figure out how things are supposed to work, right? So like, and like I'm sure we all do Uber Eats and Amazon Prime and everything else, like this level of instant gratification. But like when it comes to our jobs, we definitely have to go into things and thinking a little bit differently. And what I will say, and I'm curious on everybody's thoughts on this as well, is like, I'm not going to mention any names, but like you'll see certain people on like X, for example, right? And they're saying, I'm not looking at the code anymore. I'm just prompting and it's out and it's production ready. And, when you look underneath the hood, they're the creators of this stuff. So of course they have to say it. They have board members to obtain and sustain.
Well, it's not only that, but it's like saying, look, this is how good our tool is. We don't even need to check it.
Right.
So it's like a bit of a PR in a way. Good.
Totally.
In their eyes, good PR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So Anton, are you like, do you still have your IDE up? Or are you just in a terminal now with an agent? Like, well, just curious, like what your workflow looks like.
Yes, of course. I use an IDE. Yeah, I want to see what it's doing. I mean, I don't look. At the end of the day, these models are only a representation of what their creators thought would be best.
Right.
So they're programmed to do things a certain way. Now, you should ask yourself if you want to live in a future where you just blindly trust whatever the creator of the model just said the thing should be like. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should always have your own view on how things should be. Of course, to be flexible, to be open-minded, but I think it's not a good habit to have. I mean, both on a societal level, if we want to go that deep, but also just for yourself and just for the feeling of like, oh, I have control. I'm a human being. I have my own thoughts on how things should go, and I have my own beliefs based on my experience. So of course I'm going to verify. Of course I'm going to look at what the thing is doing, especially if it's not just some side project and you're actually responsible for the lives of people and outcomes that really have an impact, on the people you live around.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Well said. Quick poll for everyone on here. Who this week has had a model say to them something along the lines of, "Oh, you're right. I glossed over that. That's
100%.
not how we should have implemented it." Like,
totally.
Oh, 100%.
All the time.
I've had to make stuff up. I'm like, no, this is a different conversation. I actually had my agents think I was talking about something else and started adding from my other agent's conversation into it. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm already on another topic, please.
That's the same agent. That's the same LLM that's creating these pull requests that people are saying they don't even look. I'm sorry, but I don't care how good you are.
I think it's BS. I call such BS.
That is absolute BS. Yeah.
Yep.
You're a fool if you're doing that. Like, it's crazy.
and also what I would say as well, if you are doing that, and I'm not talking about like, let's say the four of us are like working on a weekend project, or we're doing something vibe coding, right? Like just for fun, like we're like getting an idea out there to see how it would work or whatever, right? Like that's one thing. Like have the agent go do its thing and then like look at the code base afterwards or whatever. Like this isn't something that's impacting anybody. But what I would say, and this is probably a strong statement, I don't even know if I should say it, but like if you are truly just vibe coding and a PR is automatically going in and the PR is automatically going to main and everything's automatically building, I would question what it is you're actually doing. Like what impact are you having with what you're doing? Because for me, at least, like, and I don't know if it's just the projects that I work on, but if I just try to one shot an agent, it doesn't have enough information. It doesn't have the architecture. It doesn't have the design. It doesn't have the understanding of how things are supposed to work, especially if you're working with a new project that's a couple months old and there's no docs on it. The project information isn't in the weights, right? So like you're feeding it the code base, you're feeding it certain portions of the code base, right? So if you're working on token exchange for some project, right? Like you're feeding it the files, the packages, the libraries for that specific piece, right? And then you're reasoning with it to see, oh, like what do we want to do here? How do you think about this? But it's, to me, it's not good to one shot. It's not a good one shot opportunity if like you're working on something truly advanced. That's been my take.
Even
yeah, I think that makes sense if you're coding stuff.
3,000 lines of context, it's still not good enough.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
Sorry, Seb, you were saying that?
No, I'm just saying 100%. I think that makes sense if you're coding and doing things. But like I do one shot tons of things like POC wise or testing.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, for sure.
And I find that's different. Like I'm like, hey, spin this up. Here's access to, and maybe close your ears. Here's access to Entra. Here's access to my GCP environment. Please deploy this for me because I want to test this feature and give me the results. And then show and take screenshots and validate that you did this. And I actually had I had Grokbot running last week, and I'm like, hey, I was building out agent substrate, right? So with K agent, and I'm like, hey, you know what I want to do? I'm going to give you access to a ServiceNow environment. I'm going to give you access to my Palo Altos, and here's an image of an Arista switch. Go deploy me an infrastructure, build me 3 agents in agent substrate, and tell me that they work and they can communicate to each other. It did like 80% of the work. It made its own visual of how K agent UI looks like. And I'm like, no, that's fake. You just made that UI. That's actually not real. But it did it. And I'm like, no, fix it again. This is the actual UI. Log in and get me the stuff. So it kind of tried to fake me a little bit. I'm like, no. You made this icon up.
But that's a good point though, right? Even in that POC environment, you still had to go in and you're like, what are you doing here? Right.
Yeah.
So like,
but the fact that you can even do that is just, I want to say it's awesome. The fact that you can do
100%.
such a thing, you know, like spin up the environment in like a snap of a finger. It's just an awesome feat of human ingenuity. It's just crazy that we have come this
far.
I'd
have to log into here. I have to do this. I'd have to figure out. And I'm like, no, here's an image of an Arista switch. Figure out how to simulate a network on this computer. Oh, okay. I'll go download Container Lab and do it. I'm like, all right, cool. Here's Entra, Azure Cloud, authenticate everybody. Okay, I'll register the app, and it registers the app that it needs to. And then now I have agent substrates working inside of K agent open source.
To
your point,
but you knew what I was doing. You knew the steps it took. You knew roughly the end result. You knew the meaning of the steps. I think that's
I
what
knew
makes
the
the
architecture.
difference.
100%. I knew the blueprints. I knew exactly what it needed to do. I didn't need to go and do anything, but I understand, hey, here's the outcome. Here's the tools that you have to use. Here's the mechanisms you have to use. Go do it. And of course, the prompt and my response with it was longer than what I said because it was an actual blueprint of use app registry, use this for GCP, right? Here's the image. You know, I want BGP OSPF set up. Here's my ServiceNow, right? Here's the ServiceNow skill that you need to build. All that stuff came up.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it live. If you guys want to see it, I'll show it to you.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise,
But,
while you're bringing that up, Anton, to your point, I mean, the ability to do that is incredible because I like as little as 2-3 years ago, 90% of my ideas, my prototype ideas, my projects never even began just because of like I would just sit there and think, oh, I've got to go spin this up. I'm gonna have to configure that thing. And then I'm like, is it exciting enough for me to do that? Now I do it. Like it is pretty cool. But there is a definite barrier between, will I show this to someone and be embarrassed about how lazy I was, or will I end up sharing this with some colleagues and saying, look at this? And they have very different outputs. The first
Yeah.
one, I just tell AI, just keep going till it works. Don't talk to me. The second one, if I'm going to send a link to Michael and Sebastian, that thing better look nice. It's going to
Exactly,
have a nice readme in it. It's going to be written and checked.
So let me figure out how I can share this on here, because okay. Oh, now it hides you guys. Look at that. Let's.
I think AI is always going to be like 85% good. It will never be the 100%.
100%. Yep.
It will always be that way. I think no matter what, at least for most tasks, and that's a good thing, because that gives you it could give you the freedom to work on the things you actually want, and not do the, let's say, the dirty work. Although you do always have to do some of it, but it can free your time to do to make more interesting, to focus on the interesting parts of the job. I think we're not quite there yet, obviously, but that's like the ideal scenario.
Yep.
So this is what I kind of almost one-shotted with a bunch of bots, where I actually built out all my agents within K-Agent. So I actually have a ServiceNow agent in here, all running on agent substrates. I have an AWS budget agent that can tell me all my budgets. So it all one-shotted all these MCP tools, all these services, runs everything in an agent substrate. So none of these actual agents are live, or these actors are live in the state that they'll only turn on and the agent will only start working when I ask it a question itself. So, all these things are possible to build out in one shot, but not to look at the code. I still need to look at the code and make sure I kind of create a blueprint for it itself.
And what's funny about it too, and I'm just kind of thinking about this, like, to Nathan's point,
that was cool. By the way.
That was cool. At any point before AI, right? Like if I was creating something, I would have to like sit there and really think about what the code is going to look like, the architecture, et cetera, right? And I'm sitting there essentially like looking at a blank file in an IDE. But that's the right way to do things, right? You don't just go write code. You think about the architecture, you think about the design, you think about the why, you think about how pieces are going to fit together, at least for the first portion. With AI, instead of us just thinking about it in our heads, now we're going to the agent and we're saying, this is the design, this is what I'm thinking about, this is how it should look, this is the first iteration of it. So we're still 100% doing the software engineering piece of programming, right? We're just doing it with AI now.
Hells yeah. And actually, Seb, you were saying before, like you were talking about coding, and like you're like saying, I'm not an engineer. I don't want to paraphrase wrong, but I'm not an engineer. I vibe code. I would actually say because of the fact that we have these coding assistants now, that makes you a very valuable engineer to write code that wouldn't have before, because your experience on running production infrastructure and how everything ties together. I mean, you have a massive following and have helped an enormous amount of companies achieve exactly that. And it's awesome now that we have, you don't need to have completed a full computer science degree to understand what the compiler's doing for you, Sebastian, the very experienced architect, to be able to go, that's the bit that's going to break. I know it's going to break because I fixed that for 1,000 apps that were developed by computer science engineers who don't understand infrastructure and architecture. And I think that's actually a really cool enabler, for people who haven't been like full-time sort of software engineers. You know exactly where things break because you've got an enormous career in fixing those things. And so I think that's a massive positive that's unlocked that just wasn't possible before. You're on mute there, buddy.
And that comes from fundamentals, right? I understand how the protocols work. I understand how they should work.
Yeah.
And I understand how people will actually manipulate it in a live production environment, because of course I know it works on my laptop, sure. But now I got production, I got change management, changes, how people are making those changes, right? There's either they're doing some pipelining thing, which a lot of it happens, but in the infrastructure space, people are still click opsing tons of stuff. Like click ops is still there. All right. We get even asked weekly, like, oh, can I edit this in the UI? In worst case, if I can't push this GitHub repo because, GitHub's down again or whatever it is, for GitHub, I love GitHub. And I felt bad for the engineers working on that. But they still want to be able to click on it, right? So, but it's fundamentals, and we talk about it, right? Yeah, and that lab, just to answer the question in the chat, is that's just running on my Linux box in a KS3 environment. Just to simulate it. I just literally, and I didn't say this, but for me to give my agent Azure and GCP access, I actually told it first, hey, connect to my Proxmox environment, create an Ubuntu image, and run everything there, and deploy it there before anything else. That's just how I build my environments. I'm not doing a lot of cloud stuff. I don't build them in the cloud in like Azure or GKE as much, especially for the Kubernetes thing. Just from the spend or cost of my own perspective, I just have compute, but I do it myself locally.
Yeah, it's a philosophy. You want to own as much as possible. We have some responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My frustration there is, and the cloud providers had to do this. They had to add a lot of scaffolding around for identity, IAM, all that stuff. But I'm just trying to prototype. I don't want 600 lines of Terraform for me to go, wonder if this would work. I'm going to run Kind on my laptop or a K3 like on my my Intel Nook behind me that's got plenty of RAM for it. Like especially with an agent being able to spin that up for me and get it up and running and ready, it's seconds. Like I've pulled back a lot from cloud use, to be honest. It's pretty rare for me to go to cloud unless I'm at that stage of, okay, now it's in the state I want it to be. How would that work in a cloud environment where I've got to stand up a front end that's not in my home environment, that kind of thing. But it used to be where I started because I just didn't have that level of compute in my laptop. But I got 64 gig of RAM in my laptop now. I can run a lot of stuff like right here. Close the laptop, go down the coffee shop, and keep working on it with a pretty complex infrastructure. So, yeah, it surprised me, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I hadn't thought about it, just how little I'm actually trying stuff in cloud these days. And that goes on to the big topic, how much we're seeing sovereignty being talked about now. People worried, like, can I put this in cloud? Because all of my data is needed for that AI, and that's a huge topic right now. That's a big one.
Yeah, AI sovereignty is massive, especially here in Canada, all over Europe, and even in the US. Like everyone's talking about it. It's the latest buzz on X. If you see things, I know Jack Dorsey was even talking about it with their own Buzz platform that they've launched. It's all about AI sovereignty. How do we deploy this? How do we ensure whatever we're doing is local? And everybody's building data centers. Like I'm sure wherever you guys are, right? People are complaining or building data centers because I know that's happening here. And like every city's building a data center somehow, all of a sudden.
Yep.
Gemini
runs on GDC. You can run in your own data center and have Gemini running on Google's cloud platform, the private version. It's crazy.
Have you guys played with GDC before?
Me?
I haven't, no.
Very little.
You haven't, Nathan?
No.
It's literally the same thing as you go to your GCP console. It is a beauty thing.
Oh, really?
It changed other than it's hosted for you and kind of like the Azure box. Like Azure's got a similar competitor, and it's the same concept, right? So
Azure Local.
Yeah, Azure
They
Local.
put
So
AI on that yet? Azure Local? Is there an AI?
I would assume they put AI on everything now.
Yeah.
And I would assume if it's not there, they're behind. And they need AI on that, right? Well, somebody told me Copilot's getting a little better, and I was like, I don't know if I trust you anymore. Itself. What other stuff? What other kind of topics have you guys been doing this week over AI? Like anything other than GrokBot last week? We got Grok 4.6. ChatGPT, I'm sure, is going to come out with their own version of GrokBot, I'm assuming soon. Any local model testing?
Yeah, I think this week for me has been primarily around sandboxing, a lot of MCP, and a lot of security. Yeah, specifically with Agent Gateway. That's been the gist of my week.
For me, it's been sandboxing too, to be honest. Showcasing how sandboxing works, how it's secured within the platform. So it's been fun. And playing around with the local models. I uploaded Gwen 3.8 on my DGX. So now all my labs, my K-Agent, Agent Gateway labs, all now run through it. It's actually, I'm quite impressed with it more. And then herds. I was playing around with herds. Herds, is that how you say it? Have you guys been to herds? Have you guys been using this yet?
I saw your link. I haven't looked into it yet, though.
No. It's literally just a TUI for all my CLIs and my terminals. Right? Like, I'm not sure if Levan, I think I've seen screenshots of your stuff on social and you were kind of using it at least. But all it is really just a way to create more tabs in my terminal. Or am I missing something out of this product? And of course, seeing all my agents running across the board. Right.
What do you use, Anton? Are you running Grokbot or any of those local tools?
I don't usually do any personal projects. I'd like to keep up to date here and there, see what's new, but kind of got tired of tinkering with stuff. It's just too many, and I like to focus on the like practical things.
I love that you just said this, because earlier, when Michael was talking about how, projects working on the weekend, every time he asks Seb and I, like, what are we working on the weekend? Our response is always playing with the kids, going on a bike ride. So it sounds like you're with us, Anton.
Yeah. I mean, playing with the kids will never go out of date, unlike some protocol or I don't know what.
Awesome.
What other stuff do we have? Well, coming up actually next week, we have Agent Substrate 101 with the team, right? So we're going to be diving into, Michael, Levan, and myself and Pearce have been focused on sandboxing, securing sandbox, and before we dive into, hey, let's deploy everything and show everything what's in production, it's important to, once again, understand those fundamentals of what the Kubernetes team and what the Google and what Solo team is building out with Agent Substrates, and understand those fundamentals. So we're going to actually dive into a 101 on telling you what's happening in the community, what is Agent Substrates, what is the benefit of the actual platform? Where is the roadmap? Hopefully, maybe we'll get that. I don't know. I'm going to delegate that to Mr. Levan for over the weekend work. We'll figure it out. I think we have the actual URL posted here. I think it's right here. I think that's the one. Anton, are you doing any other contributions to any other open source tools, open source products out there? Or looking to add more stuff in Agent Gateway? Because we love that stuff.
I'm looking forward to getting the same concept which was merged for AWS for the invoice attribution in GCP as well. That way you can get authoritative spend records on two clouds. Other than that, I thought about contributing. I did contribute. I did make a PR to LiteLLM and to Portkey. I chatted a bit with the CEO of LiteLLM. He just seems way too busy to even consider my my PR or why I'm even advocating for it. But that's his
Good
stuff.
reason not to, right? No.
And also, I mean, I wrote about this in my blog, antonbreverman.com, which is I wrote about how the hard part now is actually choosing which projects you believe in, and I mean, closing some gap in an open source project used to take weeks. Now it's days.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to build stuff in-house most of the time now. And now the question becomes, I mean, what if I'm going to bring some platform, some around some something in my environment? How do I know what to choose? I mean, should I just go with the suggestion that the AI would give me, because that's not always going to turn out the best? What if the project dies tomorrow? I mean, you have to know. You have to have the big picture. And so I looked at what we needed. I looked at what existed, and I decided that Agent Gateway is the best. Is just the best. I mean, that
was great to hear, though. Right.
I'm not going to fight.
Means we're on the right path, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely won't argue about that either. We won't argue on that point.
I think that's some missing things like the GCP attribution I mentioned, which you can do now via transformation, but it would be helpful to put it in the docs. And also, I think there's a couple of things you need to. Can't remember what exactly, but I think you do need to have some things change for that to really work. Also, one thing I think would be helpful to add is operator set rejections and spend alerts. So let's say if you cap someone at like 100 ppm, 100,000 tokens, it would be helpful to get like alerts so that they know when they're close to hitting it and when they hit it. So that's just like one example. Or the operator refusal. Like, let's say someone doesn't. Well, my main point is about attributing requests. So that's what the PRI edit does. It's how do we know who made the request? Because in large enterprises, you can't give every single application and a role on the cloud like AWS or GCP. I mean, that would just be insane. Like, let's say you have 2,000 applications, you would have 2,000 roles. I mean, they're just too much overhead. So you usually create a couple of shared roles and let them use it. But the problem is then you don't know what application spent what, how many tokens, what did it do. So the PRI edit basically solves that. It's that's what it does. Actually, I mean, the thing that I sort of made me realize it's a must. It's when a company we worked with was running tests of their own product against our AI platform. They were basically using our production infrastructure as their own playground quietly, and the bill was thousands of dollars before anyone noticed. So now when we look at the invoice, we can actually see each app. Basically, we can slice the AI spend by the team, by the app, and by the values the FinOps teams look at internally. And that makes it much easier to connect AI spend to business outcomes and evaluate whether a certain AI project is worth it or not.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm wondering if I may not have the full context, but have you taken a look into like the virtual key stuff as well to see like the mapping to person, to model, to provider, to team, to group, etc.? That could also help in terms of like mapping, hey, this person, this team, etc. Like, how much is the spend in AI? What models are they using? How are they utilizing it, etc.? Yeah, that might be something to look at as well.
You mean an agent gateway virtual key?
Yeah.
But that's just, again, I mean, that's an estimate that that you get. I would like it to be a fact on the bill itself.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Not only on the bill, but also on CloudTrail, you can see the identity behind the request.
That makes sense. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
That would have to
it's good
pass
feedback.
through the identity somehow to log it. Against that. I think part of that's a limitation of just the way the providers are doing the billing. They're just like, here it is. How do you connect the dots there?
Yeah, that's what the session tags. That's what the session tag support is for. It's exactly this. It's to connect the dots. So you can go all the way end to end from a certain application doing a certain certain task, and you can actually trace the whole thing back to back. You get the spend, you get the tracks of what it did. It just makes things make more sense.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever joined any of the Agent Gateway community events? This is precisely the kind of conversations we have on those calls.
Yeah.
It's
well, sure. I
true.
like to be at the future ones. Why not?
Yeah.
It's great conversation just like this, and people like the key contributors just listening and going like, we could solve that, and it's the perfect place to kind of bubble this stuff up. And we often join it. You'll see us there. I join it whenever I can because it's just awesome conversation, and that is honestly the key behind its rapid growth in popularity. It is driven by demands of real-time problems people are having in their environments, and they're hashed out right there. There's no trying to get convince your account manager that you spent enough money to be worth a new feature being added, which we know happens in a lot of closed source things. So that's the beauty of the open source of like all of our product lines, is that they're being shaped by real need very, very fast.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm spending a lot of time in like the AAIF.io. I just put it up here. Kind of community, or the Linux Foundation, right?
Yeah. There's an awesome
itself.
Discord that you could join to for that.
Yeah, there's a Discord on it, and constantly just having conversations with, of course, me. A lot of people in the Toronto area. Like we have the first AIF in Toronto, September 10th. I didn't think I was going to get 100 people signed up. We're at 150. And I have a waiting list of like 70. I don't think I can fit 100 people in the office that I have rented.
Wow.
So it's fun. It's our first one. We have some great speakers from Red Hat. We have some TELUS, a service provider here. We have some customers that are actually using Agent Gateway in production, talking about things. So it's going to be a great kind of show. But it's those conversations that I love having, like being at CNCF or KCD, especially in the Toronto area, being so small. Like I'm sure Tel Aviv is kind of pretty tight too, right? The community is there. I would assume it is.
Yes.
So it's awesome to be part of those conversations.
Yes, but again, I mean, you guys mostly said the standard a lot of us build on.
You just got to go build an AIF in Tel Aviv, man. Go running 100%, man. You should do that.
I'm curious how did the Agent Gateway community has grown so far? What contributions maybe surprised you, and what are you guys excited about going forward?
So the community, at least from like if we look at GitHub stars or how many people have joined our Discord, is just increasing every day. Like we're doubling in stars. I think at the beginning we were looking at it, we just stopped kind of looking at it because it just keeps on going up, and adoption is just wild. And we want more individuals in the OSS space to come on and talk with us about these things. So I feel like it's growing because I'm talking about it all the time. People are messaging me about it on Discord, or they're messaging me on LinkedIn or on X, on how to do things, on how to test things, and coming up with creative use cases and ideas. So I feel like it's growing because we are past this we're getting past this POC phase, or kind of those early adopter phases of people adopting AI, and then they installed some type of proxy, or they made a proxy. I know a handful of customers in the Toronto area that built their own proxy, and it was one guy managing it. He's gone, he left somewhere else, and now they actually, hey, we actually have to put this in production. We need some enterprise, some production, and sometimes a throat to choke if a CVE goes out, because as AI is getting faster, more CVEs are pumping out.
True.
So we're seeing now people are in that, hey, cool, we've tested it, we played it for a year. Now we want this in production. Our customers need it. Our employees need this now. It's not from like, hey, this is cool, it'll be great, but no, now we need this thing. And with those needs, we need observability, governance, cost and billing, like you've seen itself. So.
And riding some of that wave, that incredible growth we've seen, especially since Agent Gateway's been donated, open source has been donated to the AIF. On the back of that, I mean, the encouragement from the top tier cloud providers and frontier model providers who are contributing and a part of that has been incredible. And just last week, I can't say who yet; they'll come out very soon. I've co-authored 2 articles with those top tier cloud providers, announcing just they're all in on Agent Gateway as their gateway.
Remember,
for
top
AI.
tier.
Top tier.
Well,
there might be 3 of that. Yeah, like the popularity is just, I think people are really picking up on.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. It's a great project. It's really a great project.
Yeah. And one side note, Seb, you mentioned KCD. I'm talking at the next KCD in the Bay Area, September 1st. I'll be down there. So yeah,
my birthday.
Compliment my hairstyle or whatever. I'm going to talk about scaling Kubernetes.
Do you have any interesting talks at that? Like, who's going to be?
You're asking me if I've looked at the agenda? No, I know I'm there.
Perfect.
I should. I'll mention that next week.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were hosting it.
No. I'm a speaker.
No, he's speaking.
Oh, amazing. That's awesome.
Don't worry, everybody. Nathan's kidding. He looked at all the talks. He's very excited about all of them.
He loves everybody in the community.
If I was organizing this one, I would be even more excited. But yeah, no, I'm just turning up.
It's a lot of fun to organize things. Somewhat a little stressful. Like I did my first one, I did with OpenClaw, like back in January, where OpenClaw exploded. I think we had 300 people show up. I only had space for like 80. I had to move it last minute. It was such a great time. Like we had some great conversations, great community people in the area, and it was fun. It was fun to host. So like hosting AIF, I'm really excited because I'm already planning for the next one. Like I'm like, oh, what else? Who else can I get to speak? So, and then all the community people are reaching out in the Toronto area. Like, hey, I would love to do a demo. I've played with this. I've played with that. I've done these kind of crazy things. I've built robots and drones that talk to AI and scan stuff. I'm like, all right, let's go. People love to hear the art of what is possible, right?
Yep.
Stories.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm excited about the most. It's just like the art of the possible. Because Sorry, go ahead. No, finish. No, go ahead.
No, I'm just excited because I'm saying like this is what a great time to be in tech. Yep. Like I said that last year, but now, oh my, like everything is possible. Like it is possible.
Yeah, and I'm really happy it's like real world now. You know what I mean? Like 18 months ago or whatever, it was like, yeah, this is a thing that we're kind of playing around with and seeing. Now it's like, like the size of the customers that I'm working with and the things that they're doing in production, it's like, oh, like this is real now. You know what I mean? And this is, it's a very fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an exciting time to be alive, to say the least.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, let's imagine you were born like 1,000 years ago. I mean, you wouldn't have that much to that much going on.
Right.
When you would wake up, you would I don't know, do what everyone else was doing, basically.
Yep. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And I don't think we've ever like, you know, there's been a lot of you know what it is? I think that it's because AI touches things outside of engineering, right? Like when virtualization came out, right? And like ESX and then ESXi, like there was a big VMware community around that. When Kubernetes came out, right? Like there was a big cloud native community around that. And then, you know, the CNCF came out and everything. But those were like tech centric tools, right? So it was huge and it was big things for us. With AI, it's not just people like us, it's everybody, right? Like everybody's in on what's going on in AI, right? Whether it's medical, whether it's law, whether it's government, like whatever it is. It's all over the place, right? Like I have like family members that like are not in engineering, right? Being like, hey, I'm doing this thing with AI. And it's like, yeah, like, so it's a very big thing.
Yeah, it's definitely having a real impact.
Yep, 100%.
So we're at the top of the hour. I really had nothing else on the agenda. I do really appreciate you, Anton, for jumping in last minute because I messaged you like 2 days ago, to be honest.
Yeah, nice one.
And
wow, you gave that much time. Usually give
I
us
gave
an
that
hour.
much notice to anybody and everybody.
What,
But
about
it'd
10
be
to
great.
12 minutes,
Let's
Michael,
jump on
right?
this, and thanks for writing the blog, which is awesome.
Thank you for having me in. I really enjoyed the
we'll do it again,
conversation.
100%. We'll have you in again itself.
Yeah, mate, from the trenches, your insights, really valuable. Really good to hear that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Love it.
Thank you, guys. You're all awesome.
Thanks, man.
I'll
Appreciate
try, man. I Levan's awesome. That's about it.
No, come on. Come on.
Have a good one, everyone.
Later. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great one.